Well, good afternoon, traders, and welcome to this week's market analysis class on Monday, the 18th of September. As always, please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only, and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. All right, I'll bring forward what the major news is for this week. Let's recap a little bit on what's happened last week. If we start off with the US dollar, pretty much US dollar ended a little bit higher than where it started for the week. It had a lot of geopolitical issues, particularly the North Korea missile situation. It also had a lot of pro strength towards the start of the week and a little bit towards the end of the week, mainly from the returning workforce. It's typical after July, people come back from holidays and they've come back, retaken positions, reorganized portfolios, and there's obviously an enthusiasm that perhaps there will be a rate increase, or at least pushing towards a rate increase, the message that the FOMC may be sending. So that's given the US dollar a lot of momentum, particularly against the yen. But definitely last week, the currency that really shined, I guess, so to speak, was the sterling. Bank of England basically came out and said that they feel that they will need to review their stimulus situation, and it may be time to reduce stimulus. So in other words, they'd be looking at increasing rates and things of that nature, which basically gave the pound a shot of adrenaline. It broke through that 130 region, and now firmly the next logical targets are in the 138 zone. So that's pretty much the highlight of what happened last week. The Canadian slowed down a little bit after a couple of weeks of, all hell's blazing, so to speak. So it's stood its ground, but it's failed to continue on that momentum. And we'll have a look at the charts when we bring them forward. Now, if we project to the week that is about, well, that has literally started already. On our agenda, let me go through some of the highlights and things to look out for. We have locally in Australia tomorrow, 11:30, we have a monetary policy meeting minutes. So let's see if there's anything there. All of a sudden, we had obviously the US has already increased rates once, and we're thinking that perhaps they may do it again. The Bank of Canada has done it 2 times. Then in Europe, the ECB is talking about reduction of stimulus, and now the pound is also talking the same sort of vibe. So let's see what the Australian monetary policy meetings are, and see if they reveal any information about a comparison to other central banks around the world. We also have the governor speaking later in the week on Thursday. So that's pretty much it locally for Australia. The US has got the bulk of the data. So they have building permits, crude oil, and of course they have the big one, which is the FOMC decision, funds rate decision, and the statement. I think if they were to increase rates this week, it would come definitely as a bit of a shock to the market. I think what the market is more expecting is that they give an indication that perhaps the need will be there for the next quarter come December. That's what they've done for the last 2 years in a row. So I think if they do increase rates this week, it will definitely shock the market, and the market will react accordingly. Now, if the other big option is they could bluntly shy away from a December increase, and then really the US dollar could dive and lose all the gains it's made, and then just continue on a little bit of a down term. The thing what's keeping the US dollar up at the moment is the optimism that there will be another rate increase later in the year. So let's see what they say. That's Thursday, a big one, and of course we have unemployment claims that evening as well, like just an hour later after that release. From the UK, we have retail sales, and Governor Carney will be speaking. That's tomorrow. From Europe, Mr. Draghi will be speaking towards the end of the week. And from New Zealand, we have the GDP numbers on Thursday, but we do have parliamentary elections on the weekend. So if there's any Kiwi dollar traders, just be aware of that because obviously the market is closed on the weekend. So if there's something dramatic that happens there, we could get some gapping occurring for you when you turn up on Monday morning. Okay, so there you have it. That's the highlight. I think the currency that's probably going to be the most susceptible to data this week will be the GBP USD. Okay, primarily because of the US FOMC statement and federal funds rate decision. Okay, as always, guys, just please remember that the times that I'm showing you here are in my local time, which is Australian Eastern Standard Time, otherwise known as Sydney time. Okay, there you have it. Let me bring my charts forward. Let's go through, analyze the different currencies and see what's on offer. And we'll kick off with the Aussie dollar. Okay, Aussie dollar. Just take a look. Now, definitely we could see that we were in trend. We've pulled back, but we've hesitated a little bit here. We have broken, but it was a very sharp descent. And I'm actually favoring this rising wedge more so than any trend-based type of trade. In any case, we have not produced a setup in this section where we would expect it to continue with the trend. So I cannot take a trend-based trade. So what I'm going to be interested in right now is I'm just interested to see what happens in this region here to see if I can possibly get a trade back in that direction. But also typically when we trade a rising wedge type setup, we always have to be alert for the breakout in the opposite side of the angle of the wedge. So if it's a rising wedge, you're looking for a breakout in the downward direction. If it's a wedge that is going downwards, then you're looking for a break in that direction as such. So keep alert on that bottom line. And for the top line, we're going to have to be flexible because realistically we can move this line around a little bit. There's a lot of play in it, so it's not set. So I've just drawn it in as such right now to start me off. But when we get towards that area, definitely I need to wait for price action to confirm itself and then adjust my lines to see if it fits what I'm looking for, and only then will I be ready to place a trade on that particular pattern. And that's purely because of the nature of these spikes both over here. It gives me a lot of play in the line. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes, we're all good? Alright, so Aussie dollar at the moment, this pattern is starting to show some real promise. It's a really, I like trading rising wedges, so let's keep track of it and let's see if possibly we could get the trade set up for us up in this area towards later in the week. Alright, let's move along. Let's have a look at our Euro USD. Euro USD still appears to be in trend. Oh, hang on, one quick question. Someone's asking me, what about on a 4-hour chart? Well, let's have a quick analysis of it. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, straight away, if I'm in a 4-hour chart, the top line will lock in better. Alright, so I need to fit it in better. Okay, so if I'm going to trade it off a 4-hour chart, the good news is that where my line placement is significantly better than on my daily chart. Either way, now what I would want to wait for is something to happen there and then shoot it in this direction. Okay, that clears that one up, Andrew. Yep. Okay, great. All right, so if I guess you could say then if you drop down to a one-time division, see, I'm more if I'm trading the daily chart, I'm going to be more flexible, but on my 4-hour chart, I need to keep those lines where I drew them because otherwise it doesn't make sense. All right, let's move along. What do we say? Euro USD. We're still in trend as we were saying, and unfortunately, we don't have a setup of this particular trio of candles. So we just sit and wait, and let me just zoom out a little bit. Oh, let me go to a weekly chart. Just want to see. So it's definitely there's been a really nice run from all the way back here. That's nearly 1500 pips. This gap that we were speaking about is still in the market, has not been closed, and we haven't had any pullback yet. We haven't had anything. So if I was looking at a weekly chart, it would make sense, even if we go on trend, that I would want to see something like this before we continue again. This just makes logical technical analysis. It hasn't happened yet, so I'm not going to try and trade for it, but I need to be aware that if we do get that kind of pullback, it could come down as far as where I've just drawn that line, and that line is at about 117, 116.50. So let me now go back to my daily chart, and 116.50 puts me at about here. So that means I could, if I was going to get that kind of pullback, this is the level where I would be looking for it. Now, should I break this one, which is almost at the same level, well then the question mark would come up. Is it a reversal, or is that dip too deep to continue trend trading? So at the moment, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw two lines on this chart. Give me one moment. I'm just going to draw a line across there. This is kind of like a line where I feel that if we cross this line downwards, possibly the trend could be checked over. And this one up here, we break that, we jump on again, and we continue to go forward. Okay, so at the moment, had this been a setup right here, I would have traded that, but it's not, so I can't. So let's see what happens in this area over here. Maybe on a 4-hour chart we might be able to get something out of that. Let's just see. Actually, I can kind of see something there already on a 4-hour chart. Give me a moment, let me just have a quick look. Okay, on a 4-hour chart, let me change the color of my 4-hour line just so that it's a little bit more obvious. Okay, can everybody see? Just focus on the yellow lines. That's a parallel channel. You got one touch there, back, up there, back, up here, and we're in here. Can everybody see that? So we've got 1, 2 up the top, 3 and 4 down the bottom. So there's a couple of options coming up. Should this come to this level again, we could get like a straight out double top. There could be a little bit of leniency in trading off the channel up there, but definitely there will be a shorting opportunity in that range. Okay, so just keep that one on your hot radar, and let's see what happens. I'll keep those other blue lines there for the daily time frames, but at the moment we kind of really can't do anything, so we'll just sit this and just wait it out. Okay, I'll leave those lines on there and I'll move along to the GBP USD. This is a really good example. I put this chart up, I think, was it last Thursday, I think, or Friday? I don't remember. It was the chart of the day on the daily call. And with this particular chart, what I was highlighting for you was that touch there. This is all the way to there, and we were right there when I posted the chart. Now I said we need to wait for this current candle to complete. All right. So if you had traded off this level to bounce off the channel, you can see what basically happened. But waiting for the candle to complete, clearly this broke up and that channel did not hold. So then basically we just move on and it was a no trade. All right, so let me delete that now. It's no good to us anymore. And the first thing that I want to do is I just want to check that fib level. Where are we right now? Oops, it's a horrible color. Let me just change color. Okay, so right now that level there is the 161.8 Fibonacci extension from here down to here and then pushing forward to that level C. It's not a round number or it's nothing like that, so I'm not just going to trade off it, but I'm just interested. I was just interested to see. That's what it felt like it was. Let's see if we can find something. Okay, this one's really not showing me nothing at all. We're getting close to those levels pre-Brexit again. Okay, GBP USD. Let's just sit this one out for a little bit. This we got nothing set up on this, so I'm not willing to get any trades off that level. Okay, so GBP USD this week, nothing. Let's move along. US yen. Okay, this looks. Let me see. Why have I got these lines? Okay, so here I've got one level, two levels up there, one down the bottom, one down the bottom. We're in the middle, so naturally what I'm going to be interested to do is when we get to this level up here, I'm going to look for that price action setup that we like so much. Then let's see if we can get a trade off this perimeter up the top. Okay, it's the most obvious trade. Let me just have a quick look at a 4-hour chart if there is anything better. So in a 4-hour chart, our trading range is expanding. If you look at it from this point here and this point, we were tight, we got bigger, and we got bigger again. It's almost like a reverse triangle, or rather than being converging, it's getting wider. When we get that scenario, it's personally, I don't like to trade those scenarios. I walk away from those situations. That's on a 4-hour chart, so it's important to note that. On the daily chart, though, however, we have a nice channel happening. So let's wait for the market to come and meet us over here, and let's see if when it does come there, if we can possibly get a nice trade in a downward direction. Okay. All right. Let's carry on. Let's have a look at the euro yen. Okay, pushing new highs. How does that line look, guys? We like that one? What do we think? Are we happy with that line? Because if I then add this one down the bottom, we have a nice rising wedge. What do we feel about this pattern? I'm on a daily here, and on top of that, I've got the possibility of an inside candle. Now, I've got to wait for this candle to finish. Alright, so this candle has not finished. So this trade would be, should it remain as an inside candle, tomorrow it would be ready. So let's pretend if this finished exactly like it is right now, tomorrow you'd place your order just there and you'd be trying to trade down into this direction. Okay, so let's, but this one, the level looks okay to me. Let me just zoom a little bit further out, see if it looks, no, I think it looks good. Alright, so I would be happy to trade off this, but I need to wait for this candle to finish. So we need to wait for tomorrow. If I go into a 4-hour chart, let me see how it looks. It looks the same. If I was trading off a 4-hour chart, technically I would have already been in the trade at this level. So the inside candle was these two. And you can see that we broke that level there. So right there you would be in the trade if you were trading off a 4-hour. You're not stopped out yet, but you're still in. But off the daily, it has not triggered yet. So I'm trading the daily, so I need to wait for tomorrow. I'm just going to make a note of this one so that I can put it onto my chart, see if it could possibly be tomorrow's chart of the day. Okay, let's move along. Let's have a look at the Kiwi dollar. Ooh, this head and shoulder pattern that just doesn't want to fall down. It's just rallying. And Kiwi's got elections this weekend, so it should give it a bit more movement. And you can see that through this section here, the candles are getting a little bit longer, a little bit more volatility, but we're still not sort of really getting back up there. That level seems to be holding. Let me zoom out one moment, see if I can see anything extra. And let me have a look at a 4-hour. Okay, this region or this level that I've just marked out for us, what is it? It's about 73.30 mark. It keeps coming there and bouncing away. And now, question mark. Okay, I'm on a 4-hour chart. Let me just see off a daily. There's no setup on the daily, but off a 4-hour, what time is it? 7. At 7 p.m. is the next candle, so it's 4 o'clock in 3 hours time. So you've got to wait 3 hours for this candle to finish. If it finishes as an inside candle, you've got yourself a trade right away to attempt to trade it down. Okay? Is everybody clear on what I've just explained? So I'm waiting for this candle to finish. It will finish at 7 p.m. And then once it's finished, if it is an inside candle, then you can attempt to trade off this resistance level downward into that direction. And by the looks of what that candle may end up looking like, your target may be over here somewhere. That's your 2-to-1 target, so there's plenty of room. Okay, so you come back and check on this candle at about 7 p.m. Alright, okay, let's move it along and let's have a look at US CAD. We've got a position open here. What have I got? I've got a buy. Oh, so this is a position that I opened last week. The trade's up about 40 pips. And the reason for it, I'm just trying to remember. Give me one moment. Let me zoom out. There was a lot of divergence. Okay, so let me just bring back that awesome oscillator. Let's have a look at now that some more candles are finished of what. Okay, so now this is confirmed. Someone asked me last week, see where we have the color change there. So alright, let me just, for the completeness of the exercise, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at this sort of line that this indicator is making, and I'm using the awesome oscillator. It's kind of like a MACD. And I'm comparing the lows, that low there to that low there, and if I draw a straight line across them, I can see that this line is going upwards a little bit. And then if I look at this low and this low here and draw a line across them, it's going downward. Alright, this is what we call divergence. Okay, so typically what I would expect is that they're both going in the same direction. So look at over here, this is going there and there, it's going slightly up. When I go up here, you go there and there, it's also going up. That's normal. Okay? This, what I'm showing you here, is not normal. It's called divergence. This is why we took this trade last week, and we took it over here somewhere. And then, at the time though, we were on this red one. These three blue ones did not exist at that particular point in time. If you want, you can go back and watch last week's lesson, and just to clarify it for yourself. And with divergence, I said it feels like it's going to turn, and this confirmed it. Now, how much it's going to go, I don't know now, but the trade is up. It's taken a long time just to get 40 pips. It's a positive swap trade anyway, so I'm not concerned about it. My stop is still in place. I'm going to continue to let it run. Okay, so, but I want to highlight one other thing. Let me get rid of this indicator now, and let me zoom in. If typically when we trade trend, we're looking for this. Okay, now if I was to get a setup on a pullback that would indicate continuation of trend, well then at that point I would close out my trade, because right now I'm currently trading in this. I'm trying to trade against the trend because I'm doing a divergence trade. All right, so the market did come up. There's the candle with the fractal. This is the 3 candle sequence, and those 3 candles is not a setup. I've got no indication from those 3 candles that this would go in this direction. So guess what? I'm just going to stay in it. I'll keep the stop at the same place. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But I'll keep it, and hopefully it will go back in this direction. Are those reasons understood by everybody? Do we know what's happening here? Yep, pretty clear. Someone's asking me, can I have a look at the 4-hour? Do we have a rising wedge? Let's have a look. It's more like a little channel than a rising wedge. I think that's probably a parallel one. Let me see. Let me just check it. It's not quite a rising wedge or okay, for it to be a rising wedge, if I draw it, give me a moment, so I will draw one line there. See, this section here is getting wider than this section. So when that happens, that is not a rising wedge. Alright, so when I first looked at it, I thought that perhaps they were parallel to each other, but they're not parallel to each other either. Okay, so for it to be a rising wedge, we need it to be slightly this direction. Okay, so that would be a no. Okay, but it was well spotted, and there's nothing on this one, so we just remain on the trade. Well, I'm staying on, and let's see what happens for that one. Okay, I'll move on to gold. Okay, definitely we can say We broke that trend, pulling back. So what are we looking for right now? We're looking for continuation. And the more volatility there is in the market, the better this would be for us, because gold is considered a safe haven. So if panic starts, then money tends to move towards the commodities. Now, do we have a setup? We got no setup here. Nothing. Okay, so we just got to, what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for, it'll have to be off the current candle and the next candle. So if I draw it out for you, this is what it could look like. Let's say current candle finishes like that. Tomorrow's candle finishes like that. And then on Wednesday morning, you place your pending order to break, and it's a trade that you would say it's continuation of the trend. All right, it's not set yet, but that's what we're looking for. We're looking for this to turn up in this. We're in the correct region. We just need for the candles now to occur for us. All right. Let me have a quick look at a 4-hour, see if there's anything already here. Okay, no, there isn't. So the game plan remains the same. Let's see if we get two candle sequence to give us an entry to buy. All right, let's have a look at oil, WTI. Okay, last week I had, I was tracking this pattern. We did get a setup of those two candles there. Pretty much hit target. It's come back, and now it's broken through. So this pattern is no longer any good. However, I can see something here. If I was now to move this, and are we happy with that as a kind of double top, guys? So we got one there straight down and pretty much right there again. What do we think of that? And on top of that, there is already an inside candle. I want a daily. So you've got the setup that you want. So if you want, you can technically place your pending orders over here at the break of this one. Now remember, if we break the top there, which it has not happened yet, we're close, but it hasn't happened. If it does, then you've got to cancel your order out. The other option is if this candle finishes inside again, then tomorrow you can place your order at the break of the bottom of this one, as it's getting narrower until it breaks down in this direction. Alright, so there you have it. Oil is set, ready to go. Let me place my order. Just give me 1 second. Okay, I'm just looking. Alright, let me just delete that order for 1 second. Okay, alright, so let me just place it now. My low here is 49.37. So I'm going to get in at 49, say 35. So right click, trading, sell stop. First thing I want to do is specify the volume. I'm just going to take a 0.1 on this one, okay? 40 and then 49.37 I said. So There it is. I'll just place it. My stop is going to be above the high here, 50-50. So let me put it 50-50. And I'm just going to put any target just right now, and I'll adjust it in 1 second. 0.1, yep, I'm happy with that. And let's sell stop. Here we go. Okay, there it is. Okay, so you can see that I'm trying to enter at the break of that candle. My stop is up here, so this is my stop distance. So I can see visually that this target right now is at about 1.5. So let me just move it a little bit. I'm just going to move it to about, probably about here. There, which puts me, I'll just measure 183. It's just under 2 to 1. Okay, and then I can also get my MT4 manager. I can get my MT4 manager to manage my trade so that, let's say for example, that was my 1-to-1 level. Okay, I can get it to move my stop or close half the trade out or something along those lines. Now just remember, actually, I've only taken a 0.1 trade. Give me 1 second. I just want to double check something. So if I've taken a 0.1 trade on WTI, 0.1 is the smallest possible trade. So that means I cannot close half of the trade out because this is the smallest unit that I can possibly trade on that one. Okay, someone's asking me a question. They cannot see WTI on their market watch. Sure, I'll show you how to do it. So first of all, bring your market watch up. Then anywhere inside your market watch, just right click on it, and then there's a menu, and on that menu click on show all, and then every single thing that you can trade will be listed in there, and then scroll through and you should be able to find WTI in there somewhere. I don't even know where mine is, but there it is, WTI. Okay, so that's how you do it, and you should be able to see it. Okay, alright, so I've placed a WTI sell stop pending order. Now don't remember that what you can do, what's the high of this candle? Let me just measure it. It is 50.08. So I can grab my cursor, put it roughly on 50.08. Once it's there, I right click again, and then I can go to, if I put on trade in, hover over this menu, then go across and click on alert. Okay, click on it and something should pop up. It's on one of my screens. Where is it? Give me 1 moment. I can't see where it is. Oh, I've already done it. Okay, notice, see that little arrow that's just drawn onto my chart, guys? That is an alert, and what will happen is if that level is reached, an alarm, your computer will start beeping. So if you've got your computer on and you're around the house and you hear the beeping, that basically is the sound that I need to come and cancel this order out because it's gone in the other direction and I don't want to get triggered into the trade. Alright, if I want to delete that order, the way that I do it is bring up my what do you call this, your terminal section down the bottom. See, there's my order, there's my sell stop, and then if you go to alerts, there's a tab here, alerts, click on it, and in there you can see WTI, the level is 50.08. If I didn't exactly get it at the right level, I can right click on it and modify, and then I can change that 50.08 to say 50.09 as an example. Click OK, and it's been modified. Alright, and if I want to get rid of it, I can right click as well and hit delete and it will go. Alright, so I'll just get rid of it. I just want to show you guys how to do it. Is that clear for everyone? Sometimes I have pending orders in the what do you call it, in my system, and so I put alarms to remind me these are the levels. If these levels get hit, I don't want them in there. Andrew's asking me, can you show that again for the alert? Yeah, sure. Look, first of all, get your crosshairs up on your screen, and then just go up and down to the level that you're interested in. This is the easiest way to do it. So let's say I was interested in this level right here, which is 43.52. Once I'm there, I'll right click again. The menu will pop up, and then go to the where it says trading, and notice these numbers here, 43.53. They're all that 43.53 on all these options has been sucked in by the cursor. Okay, so I could either buy at 43.53, sell at 43.53, or I can put an alert at 43.53. I just click on 43.53, click, and voila, there it is. See the alarms there. It's been set, and if the price goes down, then the computer will make a sound. Now, of course, your computer has to stay on, otherwise it's not going to know. All right, and let me get rid of it now because I don't want that. Right click and delete. Question, can I please go over the Aussie dollar? Yes, I can. All right, I've covered everything. Let me just quickly go back and recap. Starting Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar, we got a rising wedge here. We have not produced an inside candle or a price action reversal candle pattern here, so we cannot trade off this level. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for it to get to this level, and from up there hopefully we get what we're looking for, and then we can trade it back down. That's our Aussie dollar plan. Euro USD, we are tracking on a 4-hour chart. There's a look at the yellow lines. There's a nice channel. Okay, we're not there. We've got to wait till we get to one of the edges. And on the daily chart, I've just drawn in the blue lines just to signal to me possible, if we break the top one, we're trend continuation, break the bottom one, possible trend reversal. GBP USD, we said we're doing nothing this week. US yen, we have got a channel that we're tracking. We're right in the middle, so we need to wait till we get to the top. Euro yen, rising wedge. We do have to wait. We could have a setup tomorrow, so we need to wait for the current candle. If it finishes as an inside candle tomorrow, we're ready, set, go to place our pending order. Kiwi dollar, we've marked out a zone of resistance, and we said we're on a 4-hour chart here. We've got to wait until 7 p.m. This candle will finish at 7 p.m. and we could get the setup straight away, ready to go in a downward direction. So just stay alert on this one. US CAD, we are currently have a buy position from last week, which was a divergence trade, and we don't have a signal to show us trend continuation downwards, so we'll remain in our buy position. If during the week something happens and let's say we don't get stopped out, but then all of a sudden we have we have a sell entry downwards, well then obviously I'll close out my buy and then I'll change directions. Okay, gold, we are at the correct spot. We're just looking for the price action pattern right here, and then we can continue with the trend on this one. And finally, WTI, we just took a trade off a double top, or if you want to call it, it's a converging triangle with a flat top. We've placed a pending order. We're not live yet. We've got our order in the market. Should we break? What's our entry? What have we got? We're trying to get in at 49.37 as a sell. Okay, and there you have it. That's it for this week. Okay, guys, if anyone has any questions, please type them in. I've got a moment to address them for you. The volatility in the market has been good in recent times. It's exciting for traders. Okay, someone wants me to have a look at silver. One moment. Okay, silver looks to be in trend just like gold, so it's virtually the same scenario as gold. We're waiting for a setup. Should you get it, we can get a buying opportunity on silver. Okay. The Dow 39 in a row. Let me have a quick look. Whoa, I always like my 9 in a row. The Dow Jones, where are you? Here we are. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me have a look at a weekly chart. Am I... Interesting, that one, Simon. If I count it from this one, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's look at this tomorrow. If we get another green one, if today's a green, tomorrow I'll 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 try and remember and make it my chart of the day as well. I'll add it in as a bit of a bonus. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was a long one. Okay, let's wait for tomorrow. Let's have a look if if it ends up setting up. Okay. All right, guys. We'll wrap up. We'll call it a day. I will. If you do have any questions throughout the week, feel free to email us. I'm more than happy to help. Watch the daily call every morning. Have a look at the chart of the day, the hot things that are happening, just so that you can be alerted to not get caught up in trades that you don't want to be caught up in. All right. And look, everyone, have a great week. I'll speak to you tomorrow on the daily call. Or if you have any questions, please email me. That's bye for now. Cheers.